Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. I know I'm a little bit late to the game because we are already so many days into August, but nonetheless I have here my July reading wrap up. I wanted to make sure that I came on and told you guys about the books that I read in the month of July, and these are just the physical ones that I did read. So there were also some ebooks and audiobooks that I listened to, so we'll go over those as well. But some of these have turned out to be my absolute favorites that I will accept zero criticism on, and that's why I wanted to do a quick wrap up, tell you guys a short summary of them, and just have you add them to your TBR. First and foremost, we have The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. This book is a nanny romance trope. Basically, the father is trying to get a nanny for his daughter, and I think she's actually like almost a teenager, or she was 10, 13, I don't know. I just know that the little kid in this book she's actually very smart. She was what made this book very enjoyable for me, but I did end up giving it a 1 star. What I didn't enjoy the most is that, okay, the dad wanted a nanny for the daughter, right? He got the nanny for the daughter, and then the nanny turned out to have an OnlyFans back in the day, and they had this weird connection on there, but neither one of them knew who they were. They meet, and they still don't know who they are, but then they're like, oh my god, he's so hot. And like, that's literally the only thing that I could tell you about the dialogue, is that they just kept saying over and over and over again how hot the other person was. I don't need you to tell me the same thing 15 million times. I don't care. This book could be 300 pages less and it would be a lot more enjoyable. Next we have Isle of Seduction by CJ Lucy, and this one is one of those that is my Roman Empire and I will accept zero criticism. So this is a mafia romance book and it's actually the number 2 in the series, and the FMC for this one is a little bit more on the curvy side, which I loved, but it's also an arranged marriage. So the FMC for this book made an arrangement with a stranger that she had never met before at the end of book 1 because she needed assistance getting something done, and I won't say what it is because it's a huge spoiler for book 1, but she makes an agreement with him that she will marry him for him to assist her to take care of what she needed to take care of. They have to make it look right because he wants to run for Congress, and that's why he has to like better his image. He just does like the most off the wall things to get her to give him some attention, like romantically. So because of that, I love these two so freaking much. Next we have Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This book was a huge disappointment to me. I loved the Knock 'Em Out series, book 1. Chef's kiss. This one, not so much. And in book 1, Nash was the man. Like, you wanted to get to know him and like his story, and then you get his book and it's like, who is this? Because this is not Nash. This is not the character that I met in book 1. Nash went through something traumatic in book 1, and I won't say what that is because it's a huge spoiler, but he goes through something traumatic, and I understand that's why he has like a different vibe in this book. Nash just got his brother's storyline and ex-girlfriend. He got ripped off, and I felt so bad because I loved his character in book 1, but in this one I soft DNF this like 5 or 6 times. Definitely would not for the life of me recommend this book. Next we have Honeycut by Sierra Simone. If you have not read a book by Sierra Simone, what are you doing with your life? She writes the best taboo romance books that I have ever read. Every single book that I read by her, I love it. I give it literally a 4 or 5 star rating. I haven't found any book by her that I just don't enjoy because her style of writing is just fantastic, and in this book it is no different. So this is book 2 in the series. Book 1 is called Salt Kiss. So this book, I don't want to give away too much away because it is book 2 in the series, but what I can say about this story is that I did enjoy how Sierra gave us the story from a new perspective. So in book 1 we get the storyline from Tristan, which is one of the main characters, and there's 3 main characters, and then in this book we actually get most of the storyline from Isolde, which is the FMC, and then book 3 is actually going to be from Mark's point of view. I gave this a 5 star. This absolutely hurt my soul to read, just like book 1 hurt my soul, and I need it to be 2025 so I can have the next book. Next we have what we call the Holy Trinity of Summer Rom-Coms, which is the Abby Jimenez series, Part of Your World. I really don't know if that's what the series is called. That's just what I am calling it. It's also the title for book 1, so you do with that what you will. Book 1 in the series is A Part of Your World. This is where I fell in love with this author and her style of writing because I had heard that this is a good series, but this is fabulous. In Part of Your World, which is book 1 in the series, we have Alexis and Daniel. So Alexis is a doctor, Daniel lives in a small town and he's the mayor, and he's trying to renovate his family's inn. Alexis finds herself in Daniel's town. They have a hot night together, And they're both from very different worlds. So Alexis is trying to recover from her very abusive ex, and Danielle's just everything that she needs in life, but they don't know how to overcome the fact that she comes from money and he doesn't come from money, and they have to work things out. This was just really funny, and it was like a feel-good book. Book 2 in it is Yours Truly. So this book is actually following the best friend of the FMC in book 1, and she is trying to become the ER head doctor for the hospital. Again, she's a doctor and he's also a doctor in this book as well. This new guy moves to the city and he's pretty much trying to like take her job, or like that's what she thinks. That's actually not what he's trying to do. And because he deals with like social anxiety, people think that he's rude because he doesn't really know how to be around people because his anxiety is so bad. And that's something that I could relate to very deeply. It's like when your anxiety is so bad, you start to overthink everything that you're saying could be pissing off the other person, or like vice versa. Like you don't want to say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? And so that's what he was dealing with. So because of that, she thought he was an a-hole, and he's like, I don't mean to be an a-hole. So then he started doing things that was gonna get her to like him a little bit more. And then we have book 3, which is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And so for this book, there's 2 couples that once they break up with people, the people they break up with find their like happily ever afters with the person they're going to be with for the rest of their life. So then the MMC writes this Reddit article making fun of the entire situation of what just happened, of how his roommate ended up dating his like ex, and then now they're getting married and he's the best man and all this other stuff that's going on, right? So then the FMC sees this Reddit article and she's like, oh my god, I deal with the same thing. So she messages him and they come up with this deal that's like, hey, how about we fake date, and then that way once we break up we'll find her happily ever after. It's like, that seems legit, like that could happen. They start to fake date, and within the fake dating, of course, they end up falling in love. The vibes between both of them are extremely hilarious. 10 out of 10. Next, I read Wildest Dream by Kristen Proby, and I adore Kristen Proby. She is the queen when it comes to small town romance books. This one, however, was not my favorite by her. Now, this one was a single dad small town romance, and it said brother's best friend. Interesting. I didn't catch that. In the storyline, the MMC takes in a teenager. The kid is like getting over some emotional trauma, and he just really wants to be focused on this boy that he adopted. And he has the dad has a one-night stand with another woman, and he also wants to give his focus to this other woman, but she's like, no, put the kid first. Like, I completely get it. You need to give him your focus and time. And then the MMC is like, no, I want both of you, and I can prove to you that I can give you both my 100%. With that being said, it was a very, it was a sweet story. There's nothing technically wrong with this book. Like, I wouldn't say there's parts in the book that I hated. Like, that's not what happened. I think when it comes to books like this, like, I need you to make me feel something. Like, I need a plot twist. I need a shocking, something dramatic, and nothing like that kind of happened for me. It was very one wavelength the entire time. So I did end up giving this a 3 out of 5, just because if you ask me about this book 8 months from now, I probably won't know what I read. Now, Saving 6 by Chloe Walsh. This made me feel something. And this is book 3 in the series, but if you read book 1 and book 2 in the series, then book 3 is not going to be that shocking because it follows the exact same plot line of book 1 and book 2, which are the duet for Binding and Keeping 13, and then Saving 6 is actually the brother of the FMC from those first 2 books. For this one, we just go through the things that Shannon experienced in her books, and then we also get to experience them through Joey's book. Joey does deal with self-medication, and because he's the oldest one in the household, you just really get to see how his mother relied on him heavily, but then also put him down when he tried to help her and tell her like, hey, you need to get us out of the situation that we're in, and she just wasn't listening. So I don't want to say too much about this book because if you haven't read Binding and Keeping 13, then it will give you a lot of spoilers for it, but this one was lovely. I gave it a 5 out of 5. The last physical book that I read is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, and this is the book that you're gonna want to read for the vibes and the vibes only. I did like the female main character. I believe her name was Anna, and I wanted to be her friend. Yeah, her name is Anna and his name was Liam. So Anna and Liam met in college and they got married in college so they could have housing, because the people that could live in the housing were married couples. And so after they graduate college, they're expecting to never see each other ever again. Liam's sister is getting married and his family's like, oh, are you gonna bring your wife? Like, we want you to bring your wife, because none of them believe that he actually got married for real. And so he comes to Anna and he's like, hey, I need you to play my fake wife a little bit longer because we're actually not divorced. And Anna agrees. She's like, yeah, I'll do it for a price. So Liam's family just all completely sucked, and Anna was just trying to do the absolute best that she could to like make things better for everybody. I will say I liked that she helped Liam realize that he is not any better than the rest of his family, because he doesn't really do anything to make others feel better when his family's making them feel bad. So because of that, I did enjoy Anna a lot, and I ended up giving this, I think, a 4 out of 5, because again, read this for the vibes. That's it. Don't look at the plot a little too closely. Another book that I read, this one I read it in ebook because I don't have a copy of it just yet, which is Play Along by Liz Tomford. Isaiah Rhodes gave Ryan Shea a run for his money. So Isaiah is actually the brother of Kai from book 3, Caught Up. So he is a baseball player. He has been in love with Kennedy for a long time, which is the team trainer. But Kennedy can't be involved with any players, otherwise she will lose her job because her boss already doesn't like her. And then they end up meeting in Las Vegas, where things get hot and heavy one night and they wake up married. So they agreed, like, we're gonna get this annulled as soon as we go back home. And then they get back home. Isaiah's boss, like both of their bosses, pulls them into the office and it's like, hey, I heard you got married in Vegas, because of course paparazzi. And so they had to fake it and make it seem like they meant to get married. Otherwise, one of them was going to lose their job, and it was probably going to be Kennedy, because they couldn't afford to lose Isaiah because he's like a star player of the baseball team. This story was just perfectly paced from beginning to end. You just really get to fall in love with the characters and their love story and their inner struggles. And I mean, the spice was just perfect, if I could say that. The other series that I read in the month of July that I became obsessed with was The Iron Side of Academy by Jane Washington. When it comes to Omega Verses, this is like my absolute favorite, because there's 10 alphas and 1 sigma. The sigma is the FMC, and the 10 FMCs are the alphas. Let me hold it together. Okay, I did end up reading book 1 through 4 because of those are the ones that are currently out. There is going to be 7 books in the series, maybe 6. This is in a world where what they call gifted people. So gifted people are like delta, betas, omegas, alphas, or sigmas. And then there's the humans. Now the humans don't really like the gifted people and they feel threatened by them, so they try to suppress them and they put them in these like settlement camps. Now to get out of the settlement camp, the gifted people have the chance to go to Ironside Academy, which is pretty much like Big Brother but make it a school. Everything is televised, there's cameras everywhere. You can only go there if you're extremely gifted. So if you can sing, dance very well, play sports very well, like you have to be the very best at what you do. I really loved the way that the story was written because it's kind of written like a romantasy because of the magic system in it. There's magic, there's lying, there's tricks. People trying to off one another, people are lying to each other, there's like puzzle pieces and plot twists and you never really know who the bad guy is, and then there's multiple bad guys, and I could go on for this series forever. It is a slow burn, I will say that. Even though there's 10 of them and 1 of her, there is a slow burn and it's worth it, okay? Waiting is so worth it. It was so good. I cannot wait for the next books in the series. So each book I did give different ratings, but I would say overall as a series I gave this a perfect rating. The other book that I read this month is actually The Blood We Crave Part 1. This book has a lot of like build up, I would say, and like world building, which I don't really know why because we already went through that in book 1. So like, can we get past that? This is also broken up into like a duet. So I mean, I can't even remember what this book is about. What's this book about? What did I give this book? A 2? A 3? If I gave this book a 3, I would be surprised because right now I'm feeling like I should give this book a 2. The 2 main characters for this book trauma bonded because the male main characters, his dad was a serial killer and he targeted the mother of the FMC, and when his father killed her mother, they were both in the room. So then they trauma bonded because the little boy was actually brought there by his dad to kill the little girl so he could be like him. Sickening. He doesn't want to be like his father though, so he did let the little girl go, and because he let her live, she pretty much becomes obsessed with him. It just wasn't my favorite from the series. I would say because of like the flow of the storyline. It took a long time for anything impactful to happen. I'm gonna stop talking about this book now. I need to move on. We're moving on. The other book, oh my god, I'm sorry. The last 3 books that I read, I hated them all. This is not a good note. Oh my god. Okay. The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. I ended up giving this book a 2 out of 5. This is not my favorite Abby Jimenez series. So I'm glad that I found A Part of Your World because this one was not it. I honestly could not tell you much about the story. The only thing that I can remember seriously about this book is that the ending was disrespectful. A character just got killed at the end of the book for like no apparent reason. I believe the FMC and the MMC fake date, and the male main character wants a family and children, and the FMC can't have children because she has fertility issues. Yeah, that's all I can remember. But then they end up falling in love and trying to work a way around one wanting children and the other one not being able to have children. I was a little conflicted with giving this book a rating because it does touch about sensitive topics, and I think it's very important, the topics that this book speaks about. But I have to be honest and true to myself with the fact that I just didn't really like the flow of this book overall. And the last book that I read in the month of July was actually The Pokemon Man, and I was so sad that I didn't like this book. I did end up giving it a 3 out of 5, so not bad. Okay, it's not a bad rating. To me, a 3 out of 5, it's like I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. So that's my medium. 2 or 1, I hated it. 4 or 5, I loved it. 6, Roman Empire. Just to give you some background there. So 3, that was a medium for me. Pokemon Man is a sports romance, hockey romance to be specific. He is older, he ends up falling in love with a broken ballerina when he sees her dance one night, and then he just becomes obsessed and he's like, I need to know everything there is to know about you. This book was sweet, it was spicy, the banter between the characters and the original characters from the previous 3 books was great. What I didn't really care for was the actual connection between the characters. I was very disconnected from the broken ballerina and from Caden. Let's hope the next book in the series makes me feel a bit better. But yeah, those are all the books that I read in the month of July. It was a good reading month overall. I found some really good favorites. Top series I would say is the Iron Tide Academy by Jane Washington. So if you only take one thing away from this video is that series, please read it. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and watching this video. Please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you can be notified the next time that I post a video. And I'll be back with more bookish content soon. Bye!